Hello everyone, and welcome to episode, I have to look at my notes, 19 of the Yarnivore podcast. Season 2, episode 19. I'm getting to a point where I'm kind of sick and tired of saying season 2, so that probably won't happen for very much longer. There's Frank. Hi Frank. How are you, Frank? She doesn't know what she's gonna do. Anywho, I feel like I've had a lot of technical malfunctions just getting to this point because not only did I do makeup and then I hated the lipstick, so I wiped most of it off, but it was a really stainy lipstick. So I ended up irritating my lips and having to put on chapstick, and then I put on a colored, like a tinted chapstick, and subsequently still look like I'm wearing lipstick. Actually, and the funny thing was, I was wearing a similar shirt that matched the lip color, and I was like, this is too much. So before I took off the lipstick, I'm sure everybody needs to hear about this, I had to change my shirt to see if that would, balance it out. And no. And then, like, my leaning tower of things, which you cannot see, and I'm probably never going to show you because it's embarrassing, it fell. And so I had to organize all of that, and then as I was bending down, I was like, well, that's inappropriate to show on the podcast. So I now have, like, a lap full of works in progress. I am a hot mess today, but we are going to rock it because Friday I could not record. Long story short, medical blah blah blah. Yimmer. Really don't feel like talking about it. Okay, so what have I been up to in the last week? I felt like I had nothing to show until I, was writing my notes, which are still rather minimal for me because usually I write really epic notes. I'm gonna have to bend at some point anyway because the thing I dropped something. Bloody hell. There's no winning. There's not. But only once instead of multiple times to pick up works in progress. Okay, so I felt like I didn't accomplish anything. I don't know why I felt like I didn't accomplish anything until I wrote out my notes and I was like, oh wow, that is actually quite a lot of accomplishment. I have had a cup of coffee today, but I need to hydrate because I'm going to go on a very long walk after this because I feel the need to move around in that regard. Plus, if you can't tell, it is bloody sunny out today, and although it is also very windy, I'm going to take advantage of this and get a little, adventuring done. It's a duty day for the husband. For anybody who knows what that means, it means he is not here, and he will not be here all night, which makes me sad. I always sleep horribly when he's gone. I have gotten to the point where I cannot actually sleep by myself. Usually it takes years to get this, but I have found that when I was in Chicago with Lily and stuff, or etc., if there are other people sleeping in the room with me, I'm fine, because then I can, trick myself, or even if there's another person in the house, because when I visit Mom, while I do have trouble getting to sleep, it's not as big a deal as when I'm by myself. I don't know. I have problems. And one of them is sleeping. I tend to watch a lot of stuff on YouTube and Netflix. I have fallen asleep to so many podcasts. Not to insult podcasts, but I will literally marathon them until I can't press a button. And then I will fall asleep. I really think more podcasters on YouTube need to get the autoplay function so I can just hit one and it'll autoplay through all of theirs so I can fall asleep. That's it. That's what you need to do as podcasters. I don't even think I've done it. So, seriously, I'm just talking out my butt. Anywho. Like I said, it was a busy week. I didn't think it was a busy week. I didn't think so until I, looked at what I had for finished objects. And I swear, I thought that they were finished last week. Probably because I finished them so early in the week, I completely forgot about them. It happens. Anywho, now that I've said that a million times, I keep looking at myself on the screen and not at the camera, and I did that all when I first started podcasting, and it's a problem I still have because I want to make sure I don't look like butt. It's a problem. Oh well, I'll get over it. You'll get over it. You don't seem to mind anyway. No one's been like, look at the damn camera. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking it. So for the last time you will see this, I finished the comets. Hold on. Please don't fall, please don't fall, please don't fall, please don't fall. Ha! I have two pairs of these. I have these ones, which I got from the Loopy U, I believe, and I have the SSK ones. Although one of the SSK ones is broken because my husband stepped on it. We won't discuss that. We won't discuss that. Yes, you should have done this before you started podcast. I know, I'm a horrible person. Horrible person. Okay, so here's one, and you're only going to see one on a blocker, but it really shows off the patterning. The patterning is lovely. I have not washed them and blocked them because they're mine. One moment, please. Oh, that felt good. They are mine. I do not wash and block socks that I am going to wear. I don't wear them before I put them on the podcast because I don't want you to have to see a bunch of gunk. I've done it once or twice, but I usually don't so that I can show them all, fresh. But I don't wash and block them if they're mine because I'm just going to put them on my feet anyway. This is the Comet sock. And to prove it, here's the other one. This is pair 5, I want to say. 5, maybe. 5 or 6. 4, 5. Yeah, this is pair 5. This is the Comet sock. Komet by Stephanie van der Linden. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. It is relatively easy to follow. I liked the charts. The charts were good. I screwed up one sock, but you can't really tell. I think, is this the one you can tell? Is this the one? No, this isn't the screwed up one. Where I didn't continue the chart, I did it 2 times. So there you have it. Or maybe I did. Because those two are next to each other. Yeah, this is the screwed up one. Never mind on that. This is the screwed up one because these two are together. If you actually follow properly. And then it was written for a short row heel, but I did the heel flap because I prefer heel flaps for the most part, although we'll get into that a bit later. You can go up there for now. This is out of Soft Like Kitten in the double helix sock base, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon. Hold on. Hi, Mom. Will text when done. She doesn't realize she does that, and quite frankly, does it really matter? Do you care? I know some people get really up in arms about the whole using your phone on whatever. It's my mom. My mom trumps you. I'm sorry. So I did the heel flap and gusset. Standard toe. I believe it's the same toe as called for. Soft Like Kittens, double helix base, prototype 157 or 159. I can't remember. You should definitely get your hands on some Soft Like Kittens if you can find it on D-Stash. If you can't, too bad, so sad. But now I am not currently using yarn you cannot get a hold of. And I still want to bathe in this color. Now I can wear these. I've been waiting. I did do an extra long cuff. I believe it only called for 2 repeats and I did 2.5 because I was like, I need to use up more of this yarn. And I think I have enough left over for a couple mitered squares, but that's about it. Sorry. Bra bugging bra. The other finished object I have is, I might wash and block these. I'm not, I can put them on this. I can. I don't know. I've put them on my own feet, therefore they should be fine on the big sock blocker. It's very, very, see, other people do this before they start their podcasts, and they don't look like ne'er-do-wells. Okay, it does fit on this sock blocker, but my mom has significantly smaller feet, so it looks horribly stretched. This is Here's the other one for proof. It is all done. Done, done, done. This is the Mabel socks, which is a pattern by Moi. I believe it's like $2.50, $2.50, somewhere around there. It's not an expensive pattern. You can see the Mabels, mock cables. That's where Mabel comes from. And then the detailing is the point down here. Of course, with the heel flap, which is my favorite. Regular toe. I did these shorter than usual because my mom likes shorter socks because she's a shorter woman. I did probably 1.5 inches of ribbing. I didn't count how many rows I did of ribbing. I just did it for as long as I felt necessary. And I believe this is a 6-inch cuff. No. I kid. It's probably more like a 4 or 5. Either way, this is pair 5 of 16 pairs in 2016. Because, no, this is pair 6. Pair 5 was Comet. This is pair 6. I'm on a roll, and I am going to kill this. I am going to kill it. These are out of Patton's Croy in the Burnished Sierra Stripes colorway. I still have 2 balls, so I'll probably make a pair for myself. I am not sure if that is still a colorway you can get. And I apologize if it's not. But really, I mean, they keep recycling their colorways. It'll come back. Otherwise, I'm very sniffly today. I'm sorry. It's the wind. It's knocking everything around, and anything that has molded basically makes my head explode. I live in the land of mold, and I'm allergic to mold. Still better than snow. Still better than snow. We had like hoarfrost for a little bit, but that was about it. Radio. Those were my 2 FOs related to knitting or spinning or basically any yarn craft. Now we move along to works in progress. And my leg is falling asleep. This is me changing my legs. Can you tell? Can you tell? Alrighty. I play with my ring a lot. I'm not sure if married people do this, but I'm often like, because I want to see if my hand's swollen, that, and it's like really comforting to do. I don't know, because I'm just playing with it constantly. It's when I first got married, I thought that would wear off, but it really doesn't. It stays with you. It does. Radio. Moving on to works in progress. In my Ellison bag, which is huge and lovely. You may recall what's always in this, and you may say, you went back to it. Yes. Since Saturday was a duty day, last week, I pulled out the Robin hoodie and went to town. You know how I know I went to town? I finished the 3rd chart. I finished it. And I was motoring and I was watching podcasts, I believe. I know I was watching podcasts. I can't remember which one I was watching at that point. But I was like, yes! And I posted on Instagram, only 2 more rows till the end of this chart. And I, for some reason, okay, be tolerant with me here. But for some reason I thought when I ended chart 3, that meant I could like do the whole arm thing where I separate the arms and life would be so much better because all the weird increases would go away. I'd still be cabling on both sides, but it was a repeating pattern, so it would be a lot better. I just needed to get through chart 3, which by the way is 2 pages long. As is chart 4. If you're going, you have to be an intermediate to expert knitter to be able to like master this. It gives me hell and I rip it out a lot. So you have to be like, this is not a newbie knitter project or pattern, but I suppose you could if you were really into it. Okay, it all depends. It depends on what you're willing to put up with. I personally wouldn't have continued this if it was for me because it's annoying. Anywho. Finished section 3. Was about to do my little dance, you know, marked off all my things, flip. There's an entire section 4 before I separate for the sleeves. An entire huge butt repeat that is on 2 pages again. So I could not believe myself. At least these ones, one page is one side and one page is the other. You can put them side by side and move it. Whereas the other one was like a page you cut in half and you had to like tape them together, and then you had to remember that if you were going this way, you repeated it, and if you're going the other way, you repeat. It made my brain explode. However, why did I think that at this point I would like, seriously, who has, let's see, okay, so right there, right about there is like where the hood ends. Why on earth did I think that that was enough? Why on earth did I think I would separate for sleeves there? Like, he'd have to have twigs sticking out of his body. Like, who? What? Seriously, there's no way you can block that out to be arms. There's no way you can block it out to be arms. And I'm not bunching it up on the needles either. It's not bunched yet. So, why did I think this? Because I wanted it to be. That's why. It wasn't rational. Rational knitters would know that this is not the point to which you separate for the sleeves when you're doing a raglan shaping top down. People who've done raglan shaping top downs before would know this is not remotely where you separate for the sleeves. Wishful thinking. There we go. I had to sneeze. It was stuck. I'm not sure if you ever get sneezes stuck, but they really suck when they get stuck. I am not a rational knitter. However, this is very springy and I do like it. And I don't want to lose my stitches, no. So tonight, this is what I will be working on, because now I am determined to get the separation, because I'm pretty sure once I hit the separation, life will get better. Because once you do that, it's the same chart repeated over and over again. Just the same chart from the hood, I believe. Don't quote me on this. This is a paid for pattern, but like, I'm pretty sure it's this repeated over and over again across the body. Because there's no shaping. Because there's no shaping for most men's garments. Because most men are really broad and then they're straight up and down. Unlike women who go, unless you're me, you go. So, this should be interesting. This is the Robin hoodie. I forget who it's by. If you search Robin hoodie, it's right there. I could look it up, but I don't want to be rude. Even though I've already been rude once. I am using 7 US 7's 4.5 millimeter needles. They are Chiagus. They are the basic Chiagus. They're not the red lace or the red or any of that. This yarn is the Wickedly Worsted Knitter's Nightmare in the Neptune colorway of Wit. I have 4 balls in here. I'm going to start alternating though, because some of them are darker and some of them are lighter, and I did alternate when I switched to the second ball, and you can't tell with that, so I'm probably not going to start alternating till I'm halfway through this ball. I'm pretty sure I'm getting to a point where I will. Or I may wait until I separate for the sleeves, because alternating and doing all of this, whatever, it's not pleasant. Posture, posture, posture. I do like how smishy it is. I do like working on it. I do feel it's challenging, and it's really, well, it does get my goat sometimes. When I'm knitting it, I feel very fulfilled. You know, like as a knitter, I am rising to the occasion, you know, climbing some mountain. It's the knitterly mountain. It's a knitting mountain is what it is. And I know my husband's going to love it, and he's going to wear it. I'm alternating it, of course. I'm not joining it. You're supposed to join it after a certain point in the neck to get one of these, like what I'm wearing. I'm not. I'm just going to keep going and then pick up all the way around and do a button band. And then I'm going to put a zipper in. So I'm not going to do holes for the button band. I'm basically just doing a placket and putting in a zipper, because that's what he wants. I know he'll love it. I know he'll wear it to death. But it does require mental acuity. It does require my undivided attention. And I'm still at the point where I want to work on it in secret because I really don't want him to see it every day and be like, when is that going to be done? Or, I want him to have that surprise, that moment, that aha moment when I try it on him to make sure the arm separate is proper. Arm separate is proper? What kind of language am I speaking? And now I have hiccups. The arm separation is where it needs to be, because he does have the broad shoulders. So I have to make sure it fits him properly there before I actually do it. I'll do a couple extra rows if I need to before I separate the arms, but I'm going to have to try it on him at that point just to make sure I'm where I need to be. But I want him to have an aha moment when I pull that out. Yes, I'm totally borrowing from Oprah, who, by the way, peed me off with her book club because, I don't believe in that kind of crap. Well, in one way it was really good, in one way it was really bad, because all books are good, but I digress. Personal gripe. But her Weight Watcher videos, like the ones where she's talking about going on Weight Watchers, and she loves bread. My kind of lady. I love bread too. In fact, I could probably just eat a bag of bread and call that a day. Anywho, Oprah. Aha moment. Stealing from her. But I want him to really have an aha moment when I pull it out and try it on him, so that he can see half of it done, or at least the bigger portion of it done. That's the biggest portion, right? Because everything else is straight knitting. While there's cabling on both sides, everything else is straight knitting. So I want to surprise him with that, so he can really get a vibe for what it's going to be and enjoy. Whoa, it went from yarn to being that. So I'm not working on it in front of him. That's one of my things. One of my things. Okay, I'm opening the water. I've got Gatorade and water. Maybe the Gatorade gave me hiccups. I don't know. I'm falling apart, just so you know. Okay. Next work in progress. This is a Zigzag Stitches bag. It is very tiny. But it has sheep and French. La famille du mouton. The family of sheep. Nonchalant. In this one, so we went to see Deadpool, which is our idea of a date night. Our date nights look something like we either go have supper somewhere, in which case it was Qdoba, because that's how we roll, and then go to a movie, or we go to Barnes & Noble. Those are usually our 2 date nights. We're very weird. So we went to Deadpool, which, by the way, I loved first of all, it was filmed in British Columbia. A lot of the shots were done on Granville. I believe it was the Granville Street Bridge they used for most of the whole bridge fight thing. And so he mentions Regina, which is where I'm from, the city that rhymes with fun, which I've been saying forever. And he also, his name's Wilson, and he does a shitty kick. I'm sorry. He biffs a kick. And I believe that's a reference to our CFL league. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, which are out of Regina. Because in Canada, we may watch the NFL, which is the American Football League, or the National Football League, but there's the CFL, the Canadian Football League, and they have their own Grey Cup. It's the Grey Cup. And I don't follow any of it, so it's kind of over my head, but I do believe we have a Coach Wilson, or a Wilson, who does hitting or kicking, and we really sucked. So it's also an insult to that. The writers must be from across Canada, because there is no way anyone else would reference Regina, even if you were in New York, which is where he's supposed to be, New Jersey or something. There's no way. They're not going to come out with Regina, Saskatchewan. That's just not going to happen. So it's a very Canadian movie, and I enjoy him. I enjoy him a lot. So we went, and I took, of course, my Stripey socks, because I take Stripey socks when I go to watch movies, because I can just knit. And I got to the point where I was like, okay, I usually use my hand, and it has to be from when I use my hand, I use this crease right here and to the tip of my forefinger, or my middle finger, sorry, the tip of my FU finger. And if it's that long, that's 7 inches. So I'm usually happy with that. And then I know when I'm out and about, that's how I do it. It's just press it in between and see where it lands. So by the end of the movie, I was pretty much where I was like, okay, I'm going to put a heel in here. And as I said, this looks so weird to me. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't look weird after you've put it on a foot, but it looks weird to me right now. Again, I'm not used to it. As I said, I was going to do the Fish Lips Kiss heel, which is what I did. I did my first Fish Lips Kiss heel. I can see how people like get it memorized and then don't find it to be problematic. I have not memorized it yet. I still have to go through it, but I'm going to do it on the other sock and see how they wear and see how they fit and see if I like that. Because if I do, then I can start doing that more often in my stripy socks. So that heel's done. I'm into the cuff. So for the heel, I just pulled from the other end of my ball to do the Fish Lips Kiss so that I didn't break the stripes. This is something that Pam from my knitting group does. And yeah, it worked. It didn't break up the stripes. It wasn't too rough. Of course, it's the same color, so it feels good. This is, of course, my Cindy yarn on the Zine base. Come here. Where are you? You're here. Cindy. Zine, which is a superwash merino nylon stellina from Desert Vista Dye Works, of course, which is awesome. And thank you for the note, Susan. That was very sweet. So, yeah. I'm hoping to get at least one of these done by next week. Because let's face it, I'm already... And I didn't work on my What Have You socks because I was when I did have the time to be like pulling out patterning and stuff, I was working on the Robin hoodie. It may take me longer than a month to get those done just because it is a lot of patterning for me right now. Little easy patterns, fine. That one has quite a big repeat, so I don't know. It may take me longer. Whatever. It's still going to get done, and I'm still going to wear the crap out of them. So I hopefully will get this one done. It's not too far off. I'm also knitting it in the car because when we go places, it's about 15 minutes before you hit anywhere around here. Ta-da! So I do get a few stripes in every time I'm in the car. I just leave this in there and get a couple, bang out a couple, feel better about myself. This is on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles. They are the carbons. I like them, but I hear they can be iffy because sometimes they have good joints and sometimes they don't. So, at your own risk with the carbons. I like them, but I don't know, like if I bought another pair and the join wasn't as good, I'd be really pissy about it. I do like the joints on the one I have. Now, most people would say, why don't you just leave the lid off? Well, you haven't met my cats. They have trained me to always put the lid back on. Okay, so here's one you haven't seen. It's in my Fiberspace bag. I ripped out the previous sock for the hubby. As you may recall, it's out of Lollipop yarn in the Java Jive colorway. And she has the same base always. It's 75-25 superwash merino nylon. It looks like this in the ball. It looked like this in the ball. I ripped out my husband's socks and then, please get back on the needles, please, thank you. Well, just don't slide off them, you little bloody bugger. I ripped it out and I managed to get back to where I was. Now, in a little bit I'm going to show you, but my knit picks order came in. These are the Caspian knit picks. This is a US 2.5 millimeter, which I believe is US 2. I don't know the conversion on it, and it's not written on here because, wait, hold on. US 1. is a 2.5. Yeah, but they also have a US 1 as a 2.25. So is it a 1.5? I don't know. Nitpicks has those weird conversions anyway. But these are the Caspians. I went up a size. Originally I did 64 stitches on a US 1 2.25. So I went up to a 2.5 on a 64, and it fits so much better. I'm doing the vanilla latte pattern, which I believe everyone and their uncle or aunt has done. Seriously? There we go. I'm still getting used to like keeping them all like organized and not falling off of themselves. These are the 6-inch, and they still seem smaller than the ones I have. These are the 6-inch, so the Java Jive, or the Java Jive, this is Java Jive and the Cafe Latte. The Cafe Latte pattern is just very little. It just has some pearl bump rows going up and down. I just wanted something to have a little bit of oomph. A little bit of oomph. It's a nice colorway. I'm enjoying working with it. And that's really all I have to say about that. I love these needles. You're going to see the Takumis or the clovers that I'm working on with right now, but they do not have the heft of these. Like, these do not bend as easily. Those ones are really bendy. These ones are not. And these ones do seem to have a pointier point. Pointier point. So that one got started that you haven't seen. That's like what? Pair. Okay, let's think about this. I finished 6. 7 are my Cindy stripes. 8 is my What Have You. So this is 9. 9. So pair number 9. And pair number 10. Woo! I love this bag. It is R2D2. I'm an R2D2 BB-8 girl. Those are my favorite. And of course there's everybody else. There's Hans. There's Chewie. This side has Vader. And Boba Fett. There's some Boba Fett action going on here too. This is a sewn by Lindsay. This is sewnbylindsay.com. I should have brought the card, and I didn't. I'm a horrible person. She's out of Regina, Saskatchewan. Because apparently I'm very Regina-centric this episode. And I was whimsical. She posted it. I was like, R2D2, and I had to have it. So I bought it. And they're not expensive. The shipping is good. I enjoyed all of that. And then I was like, wait, I just ordered a bag. Or no, I just got a bag from She Is So Whimsical. And, you know, I've got another bag coming. And then I'm like, whatever. Bags. Come on. I need more. Doesn't matter. But I had a project I was going to be starting, and I just threw it in here because the She Is So Whimsical was in the computer room, and it's bigger, so I want to put a shawl in it. And this one I think is good for socks, or maybe a shawl as well, but a smaller shawl, not a bigger shawl, which is one. Okay, anyway, rambly. The inside has Stormtroopers and Boba Fett. It is really nicely finished as well. And in this one, I've started dyeing sock blanks, and this was an experimental one. So, there you go. It's got like splattery, and it says, not all who wander are lost. And I was really trying out the paintbrush to see what it would do, because I want to do like, and if anyone steals this idea, that is just rude. But I'm going to do a series that has like literary quotes in it that you can knit, and it will turn out really cool. Because as you knit it, it's going to just blip out, but then you'll know what's actually in it. So I'm almost at the lost. I have subsequently decided on a different set of paintbrushes because it didn't, like, it blurred out too bad, and I didn't like it. And this is on the US 1 2.25 millimeter needles by Clover. They're called Takumis, and these ones are super bendy. Like, they're super bendy. Caspians are not like that. I immediately, because I basically biffed this one, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna put that in the shop. I decided to knit some socks. I cast on some socks, and I've passed the gusset point. This is the Pretty Harbor pattern. I did not write down who it's by right now. It's a very minimally textured yarn. It gives you, it's kind of like the blueberry waffle one. I said it's free, right? This is going to be a pair of socks for someone I know back home who is going through a really rough patch. And I believe that knowing that this is what was written on the sock blank is really going to help her get through it. Because we all have those moments. And I love the transition. So the top was dipped in this gorgeous green. And the bottom you can start seeing where the blips of color are starting to come out. And I just love that. I love how it looks like graffiti. It's like electric graffiti. Really enjoying it. Probably going to finish this one. Soon. Because I'm enjoying it so much. I just really like it, and whatever I have left over, I'll probably do a pair of shorty socks either for my mom or for me, or I'll do a shorter cuff than I'm used to, and then do alternating for the heel, the toe, and the ribbing. I believe I will get that kind of yardage out of these because they're 463 yards. So that got cast on and worked on mostly. And Karen knows how this works. When your husband's a gamer and he's gaming and he's playing something that has music that speeds up or slows down depending on what you're doing, your knitting speeds up or slows down accordingly if you're involved. And so the hubby had a copy, or he decided he had a little hiatus of gaming, went back and decided to redo first the Lara Croft reboot, the Tomb Raider reboot that was done a couple years back. So he replayed that one so that he could play Rise of the Tomb Raider, which he had picked up, I believe, at Christmas. Which is the second in the reboot series. It's very good. It's very fun to watch. It's very playful. Although the fact that you have to kill animals in the second one really bugs me, but that's always going to bug me just because who I am. So he motored through the first one, finished it, and started the second one, and because I'm watching and the music's speeding up, I swear that's the only reason I got that long-ass cuff done, was because the music started speeding up and I was like, ugh. It doesn't help you if you're cross-stitching, but if you're knitting, it is like gold for really trumping your mojo up. Just saying. So we are doing, he just finished the Tomb Raider reboot one, and he started Lara Croft, or Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is the second one. If you dig that stuff, I highly recommend it. It's way better than the first Tomb Raiders. However, if you have any backgrounds in archaeology or anthropology, it's going to bug you. There are a lot of technical flaws in what she does. And it's like, it will bug you. However, it won't bug you so much that you will stop playing, or you will make your husband stop playing. The last work in progress, see, I told you, I didn't think I got anything done, and apparently I did, is my Scrappy mitered blanket. I did sew in a bunch of ends. I believe I sewed in all the ends up to where I showed you last. So I have added, I believe, where are you? I'm on the wrong side. This one is the last one you saw. So I've added this one. I have added this one. Okay, let me go back here. This one is Gail's art, and it is the lady with the tattoo. The tattooed lady, which I believe is a reference to the girl with the dragon tattoo. I may be wrong, but I really like that. This one is Nidian Color in the Ain't It Fun. This one is Schoppelwoll, Zauberball, Fledergarn, Undertoss. I may be completely butchering that, and I don't remember the colorway. And I am on this one, which of course is the green that is yellow, or yellow that is green, which I used for Zibby's hat, is Koigu KPPM in a numbered colorway. So I'm getting there. Did I put... No, this one was already in. Okay. So I am getting there. It's getting somewhere. I'm trying to like mix up the colors so that they aren't all together. I'm also trying to like mix up the stripes. And as I finish them, I throw them into a different box. I throw them into this little box that I have, which is different from my scrap bag, my sock yarn leftovers bag. And as I move them into that box, I'm going to start making little minis of them, and then maybe I'll give some away on the podcast. I don't know yet, because at this point, there are several of them that have made a pair of socks, then a barn raising square, and then they're in the mitered blanket. And I can't think of anything else I'm going to end up using them for. So I really think that at this point I can just make them into minis. And so if you guys would like me to give those away or do a giveaway of minis, totally on that. Just reply in YouTube or in the comments thread in the Ravelry group, which you should come join anyway, because that's where all the fun is. That is where all the fun is. Now, moving on. I know I just cracked my knuckles. I'm such a bad person. I am going to... I don't know if I can do this, like... There. It is about as ladylike as that's going to get. I finished this book on Friday. I wanted to, since I'm telling you what I'm reading, because I'm doing the 2016 Pop Sugar Reading Challenge. I did it last year with my friend Lily, and while I didn't finish it, it was still very motivational. So I'm doing it again this year. This is going under the book you haven't read since high school, because I had to read this in high school. I had to read it in grade 10, or was it 9 or 10? To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, which everyone should read, and if you haven't read it, read it, because, you know, it is amazing. And next up, I'm going to Go Set a Watchman, which was recently released under a hail of controversy over whether or not it should have been released. So I'll do a little comparison with it. I'm not expecting much from it like I would from To Kill a Mockingbird, which is, yeah. First published in 1960, it went on to win the Pulitzer Prize in 1961, was later made into an Academy Award-winning film, which stars Gregory Peck. With over 15 million copies in print translated into 40 languages, this regional story by a young Alabama woman claims universal appeal. Today it is regarded as a masterpiece of American literature. I shouldn't have to tell you anything more, just go read the book. It's this copy was $6.99 US, $9.99 Canada, and I bought it in Canada. Not that it matters. I received the most adorable gift pack from a lovely viewer who I didn't ask if I could say her name, so I'm not going to, but she knows who she is, and it was so beautiful. Like, I teared up. I really did. Not even gonna lie to you, I teared up. Proceeded to text my mother about it. She sent me this gorgeous project bag, which has bats, and there's a bat that has glasses and googly eyes, which is awesome. I wear glasses occasionally, so I rock the glasses googly eye bat. It's a huge bag, it's lined, it's very well interfaced, it's got I can't even express how much I love this bag. I am going to be putting my sweater in it, but I didn't work on my sweater yet. And I just wanted to say thank you again. There was more stuff she sent that is going to be in the Floss Tube podcast because it is primarily cross-stitch related. And this is already getting pretty long and I'm not done. So, but thank you very much again. That really touched me and it came on a really good day for that. I said I got my Nix picked. Can we speak? No. Knit picks order. So I ordered the sock set of needles. You saw the Caspians. Go away, little scanny button. So I got the sock set, which is like, you know, the US so it's 2.25 millimeter, 2.5, 2.75, 3, and 3.25, I believe. Don't quote me, but I believe that's what comes in the sock set, 6-inch double points. and I'm loving them so far. I also picked up 2 fixed circulars. These are the 47 inches because I do want to try 2 at a time toe-ups, which is also why I'm learning the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, because that's what Mina recommends, and hey, why don't we all just do whatever Mina tells us to do, right? Because she's clearly that awesome. Not that she's told us to do anything, but I like the way she does things, so it makes sense that I would do 2 at a time and using the Fish Lips Kiss Heel if that's what she's found works, because she's smart. I got a US 1 2.25 millimeter and a US 1.5 2.5. That's what I'm going to call it anyway, in the 47 inches in the Caspian fixed, because I'm really enjoying Caspians. I'm really enjoying wood needles for sock knitting. And then because I needed to get the free shipping. That's my excuse. I'm going to see if I'm going to get as angry as Vicky is about the Felicia yarn. That's right, Vicky, I'm calling you out. Actually, no, I'm not, but, like, I mean, if they wear out really fast, there will be no more Felicia in my house. But I have to try it. I have to see comparatively how long this lasts. I got 2 skeins of the candy jar. Totally not my color scheme. I figured I'd step outside of the box. They only had 2 colors, and the other one was, like, all these purples, and I'm like, yeah, I don't even need to go into my stash to know that I am lousy with purple yarn. Lousy. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have at least 3 skeins of self-striping that have purple in them. So I want to step out of my comfort zone with this, and eventually I'll see how they do. Eventually. I'm knitting way too much stuff. That's really my problem. Son, come back, please. I need you. Next, I... what did I want to say here? I wanted to point out the Grocery Girls podcast, which is a Canadian podcast with 2 sisters, which is really awesome. It's very early in its infancy. Very early in its... It's a newer podcast. They don't have a lot of episodes, and I've really enjoyed them so far. And they turned me on to the Agleam shawl, which I totally want to make now. And they're adorable, and I liked watching them, as well as Inside Number 23, who thought of the 50 points for Gryffindor, which I'm going to do this year. I'm not a big fan of Harry Potter, as I've said multiple times and lost viewers for, but I still think it's a great idea. And I don't begrudge Harry Potter. I'm sorry, my wizards come from Tolkien. Or Tolkien. Tolkien. I know he was a misogynist butthead, but I'm sorry, Eowyn is still my favorite. Anywho, sticking with the Lord of the Rings, that's where I'm at. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you was that there is stuff in the shop, which I don't know if I showed. There are the mini skeins, of which there is still a couple left, that have the 2 limited Nashville colors, the Music Row and the Nashville Coffee Run. This one has Sally's Dress and Tulips and Vegetables. They're each 25 grams, which means you could get 1 barn raising square and 1 mitered square, or you could buy a pack. You could buy a pack with a friend, and you could each have half, and you could still do 2 mitered and have some left over. Those are still in the shop. I believe I have a skein or 2 of the Starman. I am keeping one for myself because I love it so much, which is, of course, a tribute to David Bowie. And if you've ever seen the Life on Mars music video, this is basically it. And a friend of mine linked the Brit Awards. Lorde did a tribute, and Lorde is a Kiwi, so I love her. It's mandatory I have to love Kiwis. It's Awilda, Lily. I have to love Kiwis. Kiwis, Annette, all the Kiwis, love them. It's like, I'm from New Zealand, I love you. I have to. Anyway, she did the tribute to David Bowie, and it was so moving. I was like tearing up. My husband thought there was something wrong with me. It was so beautiful. So beautiful, so much better than Lady Gaga. I'm not even going to tell you. Just go watch it. Go watch it. It's all over YouTube. Go watch it. Especially if you're a Bowie fan. She did Life on Mars, made me weep. We, of course, have one Splatterpunk remaining, which is awesome, which I also made a shawl out of. You have seen that. There are 2 sock blanks currently in the shop. There is this one, which is really kind of awesome. And it's called Lisa Let's Be Frank, because it's an homage to Lisa Frank and all the Lisa Frank gear we have all owned over the years. The other one that showed up, and I don't know why I did orange. Orange never sells, but I really like it. I don't care. I really like it. This one is called Orange You Glad. It's got some oranges, some greens, and some really intense splatter. Some pinks. I don't know. If it stays around too long, I may have to take it myself and knit stuff because I like it. And the last thing we have to do here on the podcast, as it is nearing an hour, oh my god. Seriously? This is what happens when I don't record on time. The last thing I have to do is go in to our thread, and we have our She Is So Whimsical giveaway, ta-da, which of course is the owl bag, which is right here. It's the same bag as I have, which is actually reversible. Renee told me. I'm just going to keep holding this while I bring up I do not need the Amazon. I need the Ravelry. I'm surprised Ravelry isn't the first thing that comes up. Speaking of things, while I'm waiting for Ravelry to load up, what I'm going to be doing this week, which you may want to watch the shop for, is the Stephen West brioche stuff, which I am now currently obsessed with. I've decided I'm going to do kits for the brioche chevron cowl. Of course, not affiliated with him, but what I'm going to do is pair 2 skeins of DK with 2 skeins of each color and sell them as a bundle, so that you save money on shipping and it'll be reduced from the price of a skein of DK. So I'm going to group them, reduce them, and reduce the shipping on them so you can have that. But those are going to start appearing in the shop, and so if you want them, keep an eye on the shop. They are going to be neon. There's going to be a lot of neon. It's going to be Electric Funeral. I've already decided it's going to be Electric Funeral paired with some really gnarly neon solids. So again, if someone steals my idea, screw them. But I'm going to lock this up now. I forgot to lock it up. I'm sorry. I'm a bad podcaster. I should have done all of this in advance, but I did not because I am lame. So yes, keep a watch out for those brioche kits if you're into doing the brioche, because it's going to be awesome, and I'm actually going to save one for myself because that is who I am. Now, I have to bring up a rant. See, there's too many pokers in the fire. There's too many pokers. Too many pokers. I need random.org. And I have 44 entries, so we will do number 2 to number 44. I will hit generate. The results are number 9. Ta-da! Who's number 9? Who wins? Who wins? I'm on the wrong page. Had a lot of entries. Lots of good feedback here. So number 9 is A1 to win. A1 to win. You've won stuff before. Who likes both drawstrings and zippered bags equally. I seem to use drawstring bags mostly for sock projects with zippered bags for other things like shawls, though I do switch it up a bit. I generally lean towards wedge bags on the zippered bag front. So there you have it. A1 to win. Give me a contact and I will get that mailed out to you. You have won this gorgeous owl bag, which is completely reversible with the laser insert. Of course, I am going to remind you that we have a coupon code at her web store, which is good till the end of the year, which is Yarnivore 2016, all caps, no spaces. Yarnivore, Yarnivore 2016, 2016, all caps, no spaces, till 31st of December of 2016. And I will be getting this out to our lucky winner this week. Now, we will end on the Q&A, where am I? This is what happens when I move stuff around. Q&A. We will end on a Q&A with this hour-long thingamajigger. 2 questions I will hit up right now. Fergus. Hi, Fergus. How are you? I have a friend who lives in a city called Fergus in Ontario. I am interested in designing and writing my own patterns. Any suggestions where to start? There are a couple classes you can take on Craftsy. I just wing it. Once you knit a certain amount of things, you just feel like you know how to do it, and you just do it. I started very simply. I modified patterns. I modified a lot of patterns and wrote out my mods for myself. And then after I started doing that, I was like, well, why can't I just knit my own stuff? So that's basically how I got started. I wung it. Lots of winging. There is software you can get. I am relatively indifferent to paying for software to do that when you can do it yourself. I just started doing it and wrote everything down and then saw if it jived. Primarily socks. I'm not going to ever do a garment. I have no idea how to do a garment. I have no idea how to figure out the sizes. And I have no desire to. I think it's a matter of desire. Whatever you desire to try, do it. And it will just get better with time. KTJ82 says, there are many awesome sock patterns out there. Have you ever knit the same pattern for yourself more than once, not counting the go-to vanilla sock for self-striping? Also, what project or pattern is your favorite? Finally, are there any patterns you have seen and want to knit but are scared or intimidated by? I would love to make an even start as they look so pretty, but haven't got the guts to start it yet. Well, let me see. Are there any patterns I have knit more than once? Yes. There are quite a few, actually. I have knit more than one of the yoked baby sweater, more than one of the baby surprise jacket. Those are my go-to for baby knitting. I don't do a lot of different stuff for kids, and when I do, I have to knit multiples, because I had to. Now they're all growing up, but when they were all young, I had 3 nieces who are 1 year apart, basically, and then a nephew. So I had to do 4 of everything, whether it be hats, I could get away with changing the stuff for the boy, but if I was going to knit a stuffy, they all got stuffies. I knit 4 grasses by Mochi Mochi. I knit 3 vintage prims, and then just a basic brioche hat for Christmas. I'm constantly doing 4 of the same thing when it comes to my nieces and nephew, or 4 very similar objects to lump together. Not because I want to, but because I have to. Patterns I have repeated for myself multiple times. The colorimetry I have made so many times. I should have that pattern memorized. Very, very popular gift from my family members. The Panta, which was a Craftster.org pattern. I'm not sure if it's even on Ravelry. I have the copy I printed out from Craftster back in 2004, and I use that one exclusively. The Nutkin socks I have knit more than once. Monkey socks, of course, I've knit more than once. The Twisted Heart socks I've knit more than once. I tend not to do sweaters repetitively. Hats I will, again, because of nieces and nephews. But for the most part, there are very few things I want to knit a second time. And when I do it because I want to relatively quickly. Some things I do twice because I have to. This is my 3rd pair of Mabel socks, or 4th pair. 3rd or 4th pair of Mabel socks. It's my pattern. I made it. I keep knitting it, because that's what you do. When you've designed something, you just keep doing it. So those are the ones off the top of my head that I repeat a lot. There are a couple of sock ones, a couple of mostly like head adornments. I have knit 2 pairs of the garter fingerless mitts by Isolde Teague. I forget what they're called, but I knit 2 pairs of those. Mostly though, yeah, I don't tend to repeat a lot of stuff. Are there any projects that I am intimidated by? Yes and no. I'm always up for the challenge. I have to be in the mood for the challenge. But what I do find happens more often than not is the challenge comes from my body type. I really want, there's one by the Shetland whatever. There was a book, it had puffins in it. There's a sweater, and it's been in my queue. I own the book. I bought the yarn even, but it's color work. It's like 4 different kinds of color work, and I love color work, but I'm also afraid that with my body type, it's going to look really bad. Because it's either going to fit to my chest, and then, like, it's not going to close at the bottom, or it's going to fit at the bottom and it's going to be weird at the chest, or then how do I decrease at the sides? This one is steeked, so it's even weirder. Like, stuff like that, it's not that it intimidates me, but it frustrates me because of the way my shape is, which has, like, that's usually where I get to, is I'm not frustrated with the pattern or intimidated by it, but I'm not intimidated by the pattern. I'm intimidated by all the mods I would have to do to get it to work on me, and they frustrate me, and I don't like math, so it just goes down a tailspin. So I try not to knit things that are not done in my size, but then you get into stuff like Fair Isle, where I know there is absolutely no give on it. There is none on Fair Isle. There's not going to be. It's a solid Fair Isle piece that's steeked. There's going to be no forgiveness. So do I size it for the bottom half of my body or the top half of my body? And if I decide to add or subtract rows to make it flare on the sides, how do I do that while staying in pattern? These are things I have to think about for a very long time, and they're very excruciating. I did the In Dreams mystery shawl for my wedding by Susan Pandorf, and that kicked me in the butt. It took 9 months to do. There were 5,000 beads. I'm not sure if the episodes translated over to YouTube or not, because they were all on blip and blip blah. But having said that, after doing that, I could do any lace. I'm just going to throw in the lifelines. Quite frankly, if you want to do an even start, just lifeline the crap out of that thing. And then if you screw up, you just have to rip back to the lifeline. Make a note of where your lifeline is and go back. That's what I did, and so I had to rip out like twice. And I didn't have to rip out very far because I put lifelines in, and they saved my butt. So I'm not exactly intimidated or scared unless it's something I really have to modify and it frustrates the crap out of me and I have to do math where it might not work. And I don't want to take the time to make something like a large garment only to have it not fit right or to fit weird and make me uncomfortable, because the last thing I want to do is make something that I'm never going to wear because I'm uncomfortable in it. So thank you both for your questions. If you have more questions for me, feel free to join the Yarnivorous Ravelry group. It's Yarnivorous, and post the questions in the Q&A thread. The Knitter's Nightmare group is where I announce all the when the yarn's going to be up, so you can join that group as well. You can find me on Instagram as Sadie Ruin, on Ravelry as Blue Ruin. I'm also on Twitter as Sadie Ruin, but usually that's just porting over the Instagram stuff. I think that's everything I have to say this week. So, A1 to win, please contact me with your address. I will get that out to you. Everything else, I'll see you guys later in the week on Friday. Again, I'm sorry I didn't podcast until today. It's going to throw everything off, but so be it. And if you're sticking around for the floss tube, it'll be up shortly. If you're watching it back to back, I will see you in a few seconds.